before we do another Cool Cars, Interesting People episode, we got to make sure we got a clean car. That's where we're going to get our car washed over at Gas King. Gas King, it's the way to go. This is a 2020 Subaru Outback, provided to us by our friends at Lethbridge Subaru. The Outback has an improved, lovelier interior with leather seats, and I was really impressed with the quiet ride. Notice the 11.6-inch tablet-style infotainment system that gives you easy access to all your music and apps. Of course, there's up to 2,144 liters of cargo space with the convenience of a hands-free power rear gate. And under the hood is a 182 horsepower, 2.5-liter, 4-cylinder engine. You can also get this model with a turbo engine. When you're at your Subaru dealer, find out more about the new Starlink connected services. It's an app that can remotely start your car, lock and unlock your doors, and a vehicle locator for, when you totally forget where you parked your car. The Subaru is sleek and looks classy for the city, but it's also rugged and ready to take on the outdoor adventures in the country. Also classy and rugged is our very special guest, Kyle Gruninger. You may know him from his many performances with New West Theatre, or perhaps you're a big fan of his band Incura. Kyle is in the middle of a massive North American tour of the hit show We Will Rock You that features the music of Queen. We are lucky to catch up with him at his home in Colehurst as he takes a much-deserved Christmas break before he hits the road again. I'm Mark Campbell. This is Cool Cars, Interesting People. Hey, Mr. Colehurst. Hey.
Hey, Mark.
Come on in.
Oh, look at this.
Yes.
Fancy.
No, yeah, this is the new and improved Subaru. It's actually it's beautiful inside here.
Wow.
Yes, ready to roll.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's funny.
So you are our very first repeat guest on Cool Cars, Interesting People in 4 years.
Oh my gosh! Really?
How about that? Yeah.
Wow. I'm glad to be back.
I figured that this amazing tour that you were on, we needed, and you're on this break right now. Mm-hmm. We got to talk about it.
Of course.
We got it.
We got it.
We got to talk about it.
Okay.
Because I've been following you, with your Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff.
Right. Good. Thanks.
And it's been, I'm just, to be that much younger than I am today, and to be able to do what you're doing with We Will Rock You. So, I mean, we'll get to that. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about, why are we in Colehurst?
Colehurst, of all the places. I've lived in all the biggest cities in Canada for a lot of my adult life.
Yeah, Vancouver, Toronto.
Yeah, Vancouver and Toronto and things.
That would be it.
Yeah, that's it for Canada. Welcome to Canada. Yeah. But in saying that, I decided that if I was not going to live in a huge city, I'm not going to live in a big city at all. I'm going to live in the smallest of the small. I mean, one mailbox, you have to go there. There's 3 stop signs, population 1,200, and sure. I found Colehurst.
No, you didn't want to try Nobleford?
Actually, I'm not joking, but I think they have really low taxes and they have a lot of incentives to buy houses out there. I was the resale value is 0, but I don't know. You know what I mean? You get 4 acres for whatever.
So does it feel? It must be just a really great way to just unwind when you come out here.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is I'm not home a lot, I'll be very honest. I think in the time I've lived here, I've maybe been here 6 months in total. But it's just a nice place to hang out. My wife is here, my family's in Lethbridge and stuff, so I can just kind of be here and not think about anything. I can be completely away from anything that is related to performing.
Yeah. So, okay, well let's go back since the last time we talked to you, which is soft, even
so long as you got you.
I mean, you've paid your dues time after time. I mean, you've done your sentence and committed no crime and all that.
Well, but maybe not. At least not got caught. That's the important part, Mark. That's the important part.
So but from the last time we talked, I think you were going to be doing another album with Incura.
Yeah, that's correct.
I think, and then, but ever since then, you've been doing cruise ships.
Yeah, I've done that as well.
Some cruise ships, and then. Well, okay, talk about the cruise ships. What was that experience like?
Oh, wow. So, yeah, oh, wow. Cruise ships are quite something. I really enjoy working.
Oh, you did? Okay. What was the gig?
Yeah, so I was a singer, and most of the time what I was is a swing singer. So when people would get sick, I would go in and fly in and take their place. So I was there for short stints most of the time, where usually ship contracts are usually quite long. I was fortunate to be able to jump in and come in and out all the time.
So you're saying on cruise ships people get sick a lot?
Oh, well, it is like you sing, 4 hours a day, 6 days a week, so lead singers just drop out sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's why I had a job, so.
Yeah. I mean, and what kind of music were you performing?
Yeah, so the crazy part about cruise ships is every day is almost a different theme. So it'd be like the Motown night would be the first night, and then all of a sudden it's disco the second night, then it's classic rock the third night, then it's 80s the other night, and you change all the shows and music all around the ship, whether the soloists, the bands, the productions, all change due to that music. So you had to learn everything.
Gosh, how are you with that? Are you good at memorizing stuff like that?
I actually became quite good at it. Of course, nowadays on those gigs, you have iPads a lot of the time, so you can always have them there just in case they don't, So, you sing sometimes 40, 50 songs in an evening.
Jeez. So it's not really a show, it's just you're doing a bunch of songs.
It depends, actually. It depends on the gig and the day. There's a show like America Rocks where everyone's like singing and dancing, kind of more of a vaudeville show. And then there's a show band that would be like in the lobby playing disco tunes all night or something like that,
So what were some of your ports?
Oh, wow. I've been, again, every port out of America you can imagine. So out of Long Beach is where I was just out of, and then New Orleans, Mobile, Alabama, all through everywhere out of Miami, of course, North Carolina, everywhere.
Actually, it's surprising the number of Lethbridge people that have kind of done some cruise ship stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you ever come across a few like there's Cal Toth and
very much so.
Yeah.
I didn't. The thing that with me is I was doing New West Theater, and Tom Del Bello came in, and he was working on Princess cruises the couple years before, and he said like, hey, you might be good at this, and I was like, oh, maybe. So one day I just kind of put in a self-tape. I went online, did the whole thing, and kind of forgot about it, honestly.
Yeah.
And then I got a call back, and they said, can you go to Australia next week? And I was like, yes, I can. And then I just left.
Really?
Yeah.
Australia?
Yeah, and that was like the Fiji and all through the South Pacific. Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, so cruise ship life was great for me. I enjoyed it. I saw a lot of places in the world, like I said, South Pacific, all through the Bahamas and all through Mexico and everywhere on both sides.
Do you get an opportunity to actually see the places you're at, or like do they like Fiji, like, or are you just in the port and you gotta? How does that work?
Yeah, so the great thing about being a singer on a ship is you do have your days just to hang out.
Oh, nice.
So, you wake up, you get breakfast, and you just go out. So depending on the port is how much you do. There is always some kind of like activity. And as crew members, you get some kind of like discounted activity sometimes, and you could just do that.
Yep.
Whether it be, I've went cave tubing in Belize, for example, or we went to the Guatemala border and just hung out there and ate plantains and hung out and bought things. It's just, there's always something to do.
Wow. And cruise ship, I've never been on a cruise ship. They're huge, aren't they?
Oh my gosh, they're so big. And they're only getting bigger. Like in the next few years, the ships they're building are like 2 ships in one, and they're connected, and cruise shipping is it's a massive industry. Learning about it and being on the inside of that industry is a whole other monster.
What's kind of the age demo or demographic for a cruise ship? Does it vary a fair bit, or is it on the older side?
It depends on the company a lot as well, and the company's different ships and classes of ship for different ages and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So for Carnival, who I was working for, I think it's really their fun ships. That's even what they call them. They're family-based. There's a lot of families, and it isn't a lot of, like you were saying, older people. There is, of course, but there's anything from young families all the way through not so young families.
Yeah. That's good. No, that's and how long were you doing that?
I did it for about 3 or 4 years. I was probably at sea in those 3 or 4 years, maybe 2-3 months most. Right. Just because I would fly out for maybe 4 weeks, fly out for 6 weeks, fly out for 4 weeks, and that was just kind of like an added bonus to whatever else I could find in my, revenue streams that I can get that year.
Well, and still doing New West in between, right?
And I could do New West, and I could be at the incubator, and I could do a bunch of other stuff and grab gigs here and there, and still have time to record and put out music and feed myself at the same time.
How is that? How is that balance for you? How do you do that? How do you balance it?
You know, I wish there was like it's this answer, and except for I've always been like, I gotta just try and learn how to do it. I gotta just try and balance it my whole life, and then you end up I've just been doing it now. I'm like, oh, I balanced it.
You are. You're just doing
Yeah.
it,
And again, you just kind of go with whatever revenue stream is there, and sometimes you got to make some hard choices. But again, like I was on a cruise ship when I got the gig to do this We Will Rock You.
Right.
And so I had to make a hard choice there. Like I had signed a contract to be there for longer than I was, and I said, listen, I'm going to have to go to do my next gig. And that's the nature of it. And then maybe if I'm doing this gig, I can't record as much, so I got to record songs faster, and it just kind of balance. And
what is the, as an entertainer, is there a perception of the class of performer you are on a cruise ship? Do you know what I mean? Is it like, oh, you're a singer, great, and you're on a cruise ship? Whoa,
Totally.
la-di-da.
Yeah.
What is so? But can we dispel that? That because you certainly, obviously, you're a talented guy. So, but it's also a revenue stream for you, right?
Oh, big time.
Yeah,
Big time.
So what do you say to people who are saying, the la-di-das?
Yeah, of course.
You're doing a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Mr.
Mr. Do a cruise ship. The thing about with any kind of acting or music or anything like that, I've had people say those kind of things to me my whole life about every decision, and if I listened to anybody, I wouldn't have done anything.
Especially when you go from the persona of Kira, you're a heavy metal glam band.
Yeah, for sure.
To go to a New West skitty kind of show.
That's right.
But you do it all well, right? So the hell with everybody, right?
It really depends on, I say, like what your goals are.
Yeah.
Like if there's a lot of people who are in this industry, if they want to, be famous, or you want to make a lot of money, or you want to try or maybe your goals in life, if you want to raise your family, or you want to stay in one place a lot, or maybe you try and tour and realize that you don't like living away all the time.
Right.
There's no right or wrong or good or bad. It's kind of just what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're happy doing and what your goals are at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And some people just want to see the world and make some money, and they're, single and want to live at sea. That's cool. There is some amazing performers on cruise ships, and professional. I would say cruise ship performers are top notch. All of them.
Good.
All of them. And they do it every day, 6 days a week, like I said, for hours and hours a day. They're all really, really great.
We're going to get into We Will Rock You, but first, let's get out of here.
Okay.
We'll go have a coffee.
All right.
You do coffee, right?
I do a lot of
Yay.
coffee.
Yay.
Yes.
All right. Once again, Jab of the Hut.
Woo!
Shout out to Brian. Brian? Okay, there we go.
Thanks, Brian.
I don't know what that is, but anyway.
Yep.
All right, I want to get to, we did the cruise ship thing, and now we're getting into, all right, so you get a phone call.
I do.
Is that what happens? Is it right out of the phone? Did you audition for We Will Rock You, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was at sea. So I was at sea. So there was no phone call. It was there was no phone call. Expensive phone calls out in the ocean.
Yeah.
An email.
Yeah.
I did audition a month or so before.
Before who? Like online or in front of someone?
So I did it online. I actually had some friends from town send me the audition notice that went out to Theatre Alberta, and they kind of said like, "Hey, you'd be great for this." So I auditioned just through video and sent it in, and then went off to work my cruise ship gig.
Yeah.
Then after that, they said, "Hey, you're good enough to audition in person."
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
I was in Florida at the time.
Yeah.
And so I became extremely ill, and then flew back down to.
Yeah. Quotation marks.
So I had to fly back, and I did.
Yeah.
So then I flew back home, and I did the audition for the day there.
In Florida?
In Calgary.
Oh, in Calgary.
But
okay.
I flew from Florida to Calgary.
Oh, geez.
yeah.
Okay.
I know, right? It's quite confusing. And then as soon as I was done the audition, I flew out of Calgary to LA to join a cruise ship.
Wow. What a jet-setting guy.
Yeah, you have to try and keep working and eating,
Well, so what's the trick to the audition? Is the audition to show the power of your range and your voice, or is it what is the trick to saying I'm going to get this because I did this?
Auditions are so, like, I don't claim to know any secret to any audition. I will say that right first and all. casts, I think, are kind of like putting a big puzzle piece together. A lot of the time, it's just finding the right people for the job. It has nothing to do with like your ability or anything like that. Everyone who auditions, a lot of them are extremely talented. It's just finding the right people to fit. So you can find this piece and this piece go together, but maybe not this one. So you want this one. It could, you never know because you don't get to see the casting, how close you were to getting some roles you never got called for, and things like that. So. I've lost as many auditions as I've gotten, so.
I think that's the case with everybody who's in the business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's really no secret.
Yeah. So what song did you do?
So I sang, there was like a group cattle call sing that I was called, that we had to sing I Want to Break Free.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there was about 30 or 40 of us that were there, and we were all standing there, and they said, okay, we're gonna sing the song, you go first, and it was me. It's like, great. And then after that, they kind of took some cuts, and then people could come in and do a dance audition, did some cuts from there, and then we got to do our own song, which I played Creep by Radiohead on guitar and sang.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It's a cool falsetto part in the middle that can show that part of my voice, and I can just make that. And then after that, we read sides, which are just, the scene from your scene partner with whatever role you wanted to do, and then they said thanks, and we all left.
And did you feel confident about it at the time?
You know what, I did.
Oh,
I left that audition feeling good.
Yeah.
I really did. It's Queen. I love Queen. I've sang I Want to Break Free 10,000 times in my life.
Yeah.
The song I sang and played on guitar, I've sang, I'm ready. I was ready for this. I really wanted this, which was great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So talk about the call when you, or whatever, email or.
Oh my gosh, it's so intense. So I'm in Hawaii. I'm in Hawaii at the time.
Cruise?
Yeah, there was a ship that went out to Hawaii, and I was sitting there, and they kept giving us emails like, you're still in the running, you're still in the running. They kept getting, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, are you still willing to take the role if given? And I was like, yes, of course.
Yeah.
And then I just got an email that said, with the contract offer, that said like, we're willing to offer you this is the contract, this is it, please write back with your reply. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it, this is the one. And then opened, and there it was, and I was on a beach in Hawaii. It was actually quite awesome.
Sending an email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually a surreal moment. It was really great.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then what? After that, you have to tell your cruise ship people that you're sick again.
Yeah. No, I knew in all honesty, and I didn't really say I was sick. I made sure everything was legit. Sure. I really, really do love my cruise ship family.
Yeah.
Things like that. And I came back and I just said, I'm going to have to go home. I have opportunities on land that I want to leave. And I said, I'm not going to leave anybody high and dry or anything like that. I wasn't just going to leave or just quit. Like I said, I want to be able to come back if I ever have to.
Sure.
And I will.
Never burn a bridge.
And so I said, hey, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have to go. And that was that. And so I left a couple of weeks later. And then as I was on that ship, I was performing while downloading the script online and trying to learn all my lines and learn the songs. And then got home for 2 weeks, and then went right to rehearsals.
And where were the rehearsals?
Rehearsals were in Calgary.
Calgary. Oh, so that was convenient.
So convenient. Yeah,
wow.
That's half the reason I wanted to do it.
Wow. Good. Okay, so for people who don't know what the show is, We Will Rock You, obviously it's got a lot of Queen songs.
Definitely.
It's all about Queen.
Yeah.
But it's got nothing to do with Queen at the same time.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So tell us, what is the show?
The show is a dystopian future. I always attribute it to something like 1984 or something like that, where a giant corporation has taken control of everything. Global Soft has activated.
Ooh,
they have made all music illegal and real instruments illegal. The only music around is created by Global Soft for money. So there is a group of bohemians that are looking for a dreamer. And this dreamer is supposed to be able to find real music and find this real musical instrument for them.
Yeah.
So Killer Queen and Khashoggi, who I play, the evil two, they try and brain torture and destroy the bohemians, while the bohemians try and find the musical instrument. That's it.
So if
Does that sound strange?
So if you're looking for a deep meaning, waiting for Godot kind of show, this is not going to be it.
What? This is it. Now, and in learning it, we actually said that, it's not this deep changing lives kind of script, but in such a strange way. The script was written about 2003. it has only become more real as we come to the future. You know, every year when it was wrote, there was no such thing as the iPhone. So it was it was Planet Mall instead of the iPlanet. And there was so all these shifts that making, you know, music in the first like digital platforms and selling and all that kind of stuff are all starting to come real.
Yeah.
So it's this laughing kind of ha-ha with this undertone of like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But so you've been on this massive tour. How many shows have you done? So I mean, we're in December now. You're on a break, but you've done how many?
So I've done 73 shows.
Wow, all over North America too, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Wow.
73 shows, and it was 100 days.
Wow. And you've got more to do. And of course, Lethbridge. You're going to do Lethbridge.
Oh, yes. So excited.
That's really cool. Before we get coming back to Lethbridge, take us through the middle of your tour. What's your day? What's your week like?
Yeah, tour becomes like, and for me, tour is different for everybody. Tour is different for each individual person. What makes you comfortable and happy and how you live. For me, I like a routine. I just like to kind of keep it routine, and then even with my performance, just kind of keep it the same every night and make sure I have that. So I wake up in my bunk. We drive like a 12-passenger sleeper bus.
Really? Yeah, you're all on buses?
Yeah, there's 3 passenger sleeper buses, and then there's 2 semi-trucks.
Oh my gosh.
So that's, let's see, 24, yeah, there's 36 of us on tour, that means.
Wow. Yeah.
So you wake up in there, and you wake up in your bunk, you open your eyes, and you forget where you are, because you're in a different place every day.
Yeah.
So I would open Google.
See where you are.
Yeah, and Google would tell me, I'm what state I'm in and what city I'm in, and then I would look at a thing called Master Tour, and that's just like a little app we can all talk to each other on.
Oh.
And tour managers would put things like food options, they would put things like that, so you could see exactly where you needed to go and your time of what you needed to do for that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
All on an app.
All on an app.
Wow.
And so I would read that, I'm like, okay, so I have sound check at 3:45, so I would just find, so I would go food, you know, you wake up and I would go find my dressing room, shower and things like that. Then I would go off into whatever city I'm in and explore.
Oh, you would? You'd have a chance to do that?
Yeah, every time. It's only like two hours usually, but you can find a lot in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And usually right downtown, because theater is usually right downtown. And then it would be sound check, and then you'd get all your sound stuff together, make sure all the set works. And then you'd have an hour or two for dinner, and you go find like a cool dinner place, and then you have fight call and lift call and all those things that come with a show. And you do the show, and you're done by about 10 p.m. And then bus call is 2 a.m. So you have to from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. to kind of fiddle about, we'll say.
Yeah.
And then get on the bus and do it all again every day.
So no hotels? Did you ever do hotels?
Oh, so depending on the run is if we get hotels. So we usually again would do like 6 days on, 1 day off.
Okay.
With a hotel break in between. Yeah, we'd be on the bus for a long time. You sleep, you go. You get back on the bus, you sleep, you go.
Wow. So what's your mindset for all of this? I mean, how do and you got to stay healthy too. Your voice. That's your living.
Yep.
So you can't abuse yourself too much.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah. that's recommended.
That is recommended. That is recommended.
Yeah. And do you? I mean, what's your regimen? Are you?
Every voice is different.
Yeah.
I think everybody has a different voice,
Yeah.
and what you can take and not take is different for everybody, and how much you sing. For me personally, I have these vocal cords of steel. Not saying that like I have better or I've trained more, I've done anything for them. It's strictly genetics.
Yeah.
I can thank my father's grandfather's father's whiskey addiction for like helping it out.
Yeah.
So for me, and especially after cruise ships. In cruise ships, you're singing so much every day, and it's really, it's hard on your voice. So getting into a show like this, it's a little easier vocally for me personally.
Because you were doing how many songs?
I do 3 songs.
3 songs. Do you do choral work as well?
No, I don't.
You just do the 3.
3 songs, and then I have a lot of acting. I'm pretty much I say a lot of lines.
Oh, you do?
My lines are what hurt my voice more than anything.
Yeah.
As you know, so that it's still hard on my voice, and it is what it is. But comparatively to say a cruise ship gig or something like that, it is a lot. Even like touring with Incura and like screaming every night.
Yeah.
This is quite easy for me.
Oh, that's
I'm
fantastic.
lucky. I'm very lucky in that respect. My character. If you go to someone like Galileo Figaro, who is the lead character, who sings like 9 or 10 songs, at Freddie Mercury's level every single day,
Right.
That's a different story.
Right.
You know, I get to sometimes enjoy things more than those people, and but I make sure to know that I don't take that for granted or anything like that. So,
well, talk about your castmates. What are they? Canadian, American, all over the world, or what's? You must have a real. What's that camaraderie like?
It's so wild. Mostly Canadian. It's a Canadian company.
Oh.
Yeah, so mostly Canadian. From Toronto and Alberta, things like that. A full band as well, like live band, so they're all in there as well. So there's a lot of us. It's just wonderful. Everyone's extremely talented. That's the cool thing about it. Everyone's at a different stage in their career. Like I said, there's 16 of us who are on stage or something like that, and then another 30 of us that are all together, 36 of us that are all together. Everyone's at a different stage in their life, different stage in their career. People have been on stage a lot. People have been on stage a little bit. It's like living with a family.
Yeah.
The whole time. Yeah.
So there's some good ones and the ones you hate.
Yeah. There are some good ones.
Yeah. What about, for whatever reason in my life, I've always been fascinated with arenas and rinks.
Oh my gosh, yep.
And you've been to so many theaters. What's that experience like to see what cities build?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It is wild, especially the arena thing. Me too. Like I would go to shows and just dream of like, how did this all get here? How do they set it up? Like, what is this like? So with us, it's a touring show. So there's like a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, depending on what the venue is going to bring, how high you can rig things. The show has incredible productions. It's got 3 screens, hundreds and hundreds of lights, a whole set, like I said, that moves on air casters to move everything around. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I don't know. To tour it is just different. So I would say the stadiums are usually plan A shows. That means you get the rolling stairs, you get the full set, you get everything you need. I just don't want to try and take away from the show. A plan B show would mean maybe you don't get those stairs, you only get half the set and half the lights. Plan C show, so those are the things that come along with it.
Yeah. You're still getting a great show.
You're getting the greatest show all the time, but we just can't fit this set piece through this door in this 1928 theater.
Right, sure.
But in stadiums you can.
Yeah.
So you start to learn why you like venues and don't like venues, and I thought I would like stadiums the best. I found that I do, but I don't like to sing in stadiums because the slapback of the sound, and it just doesn't give you that experience. You go to some of these auditoriums and oh my gosh, you sing the notes and they come back to you and it's this rich, beautiful sound.
Yeah.
But I love the production, like you said.
Yeah.
I love getting in there at 9 a.m. and seeing 2 semi-trucks loading up lights into the ceiling. My friend Adam, who I was having a beer with last night, is now literally hanging from the ceiling, hanging lights up. That kind of stuff. And again, the theaters.
Yeah. And you played, now you didn't play the big arena, Madison Square Gardens, but you played Madison Square Garden. What was that? New York City.
New
York!
Where
it happens there.
Yeah, you just made it. You know what I mean?
You just did. You've done
made it.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
No, what was that?
True.
Explain that one.
Again, it's so hard to explain the feeling of New York. You hear about New York and it's like, oh, New York audiences and this kind of stuff. And everything they said was true. Like I've never played for an audience that was that engaged and into the show and hollering, and not just hollering for the sake, but in New York you're there to see a show and you know you're there to see a show, and every person there is there to see it. The audience was just incredible, something I've never experienced before.
Wow. Wow.
New York. And then you go to Madison Square Garden, you walk down the street to work every day. You get out of your hotel and you look up and there's you on this giant billboard and flashing every day and they would I wish I could show you pictures. But yeah, it's just wild, the amount of marketing, and that's the crazy part too, the lights and everything. You just walk down the street to go for coffee and be flashing "We Will Rock You" signs on this giant billboard in New York. It was just kind of surreal.
So you were there for more than one show then, right?
Yeah, we did I think 6 shows.
Oh, you did?
There.
Oh,
Maybe,
wow.
Yeah, 6 shows.
And what's that? Because you're not, like I said, you're doing a separate theater, which is in Madison Square, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how big is that theater?
5,000.
5,000. Wow. Yeah. So you did 7 of those. So you may as well have done the big one. You should have done the big one.
I know, right? That's what I said. I know.
Kick Billy Joel out of there.
What's he doing in there? And he sold his out too. So can't really fight that. Yeah, but the theater, and it's it's all the same building. It's all the same everything. But you walk into this big arena that is,
But it still has that like humble feeling of it's still like a hockey arena.
Yeah.
Like it's still got those like old brick walls with the cement floor with the everything.
Yeah.
It's still, they're all like that, no matter if it's the theater or the stadium or.
So can you kind of say that there was a favorite place that you've been in this part of it? Where?
Easy.
Where?
Easy.
Really?
That's funny,
gosh.
right? To perform in is one thing. I love the old theaters. I love seeing all the stuff. I love the history of all the old theaters. That's something that's just in me. But the Microsoft Theater in LA is unlike anything I've ever been in my life.
Wow.
It's where they have the Grammys. It's where they have like all these, it's just incredible. I was golfing backstage in my costume. We'll say that.
You were golfing?
Golfing. They have like an entire like a video game arcade back there with like golf and with everything, with a full-time bartender, and like it is all the rooms are like top notch. You really start to love things like a nice shower on tour, nice bathroom, all these things that you really start to crave. And and then on top of that is just like giant lights and sound and like sold out just like thousands of people.
Wow.
So it's great.
Now I gotta ask you about the members of Queen.
Dun, 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 dun. I
You
get
got
this
to meet,
question.
you get that's Queen has always been one of my favorite bands of all time too. But you get to meet Brian May.
Yeah, so I say it loosely.
Okay.
How it worked is it's really great because in this musical, Queen has their hands. It's like a family thing all over this. It's not something they just put out there and it's just for fun and that's that. Like they are a piece and a part of this. Every change, everything they have been there, they have talked about, they have been a part of. So Stuart Morley came down, who is Queen's musical director, and he rearranged everything for us, which was really cool. We're the first tour to do this score in this way. And so what they would do is Stuart and Brian would go back and they would listen to like never before heard takes of Freddie Mercury singing harmonies. Wow. And he would go, oh, okay, so Freddie would do it more like that. Well, let's change this harmony here because this harmony isn't very Queen-like. I don't know why we did it like this. Let's do it like this. And we got to change it. So what he would do is then Brian would like have an idea about it. So Brian would on his phone like, hey, maybe we should change it like this and play it and play the guitar lick and sing and say, oh, maybe that's stupid. And so Stuart would come in there and be like, hey, Brian says this. What do you guys think? And we'd play it and you're like listening to Brian May be like, I don't know, do it how you guys want. And you're like, yeah. And then little things like opening night, all of a sudden you're just sitting there and you're all nervous for this whole thing that's happening. And then you just get this personal video from Brian May who just is kind of like, hey, I'm really excited for this to happen. You guys are so amazing. Thank you so much. Like using people's names and just like, it's just that level of just like, you're right, like 2 degrees separation from the band. And of course the creative team all flew out and saw the show on the West End as well. So they got to meet a lot of people. They got to meet Queen's manager and go for dinner with them and do everything as well. So
where was opening night for you?
Opening night, we did 8 shows of preview in Winnipeg.
Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And man, huge theater. Again, like we walked in to be like, okay, it's gonna be the first show. This will be nice. And you walk out on stage, just like, just like the biggest theater I've ever been in my life.
Wow.
It was massive, scary. Yeah.
That's wow. So moving forward, now you're on this break. What will you do to kind of recharge yourself? Drink
excessively, yeah. No, that's on tour too. I'm not kidding. So these weeks I'm going to try and spend as much time with family.
Yeah.
And I have to work. Like as strange as it sounds, like you have to still keep up. So I have time. I can rearrange my resume. I can put my self-tape together for any shows I want to do. I can rearrange my audition tape to use some of my We Will Rock You stuff to put it in there.
Oh, nice, yeah.
All that stuff I can write. I can find out the songs that I have written and on the go when I can put them out. All that stuff I don't have time for on the road.
Right.
I can focus on that. And I can kind of build all that up before, and I can get all my taxes done. Now you just reminded me about that. I can start my taxes because I won't be back till the end of February, so I can have that done before I get back. All that life bullshit.
Yeah, you can say it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yes, look at me. I feel good. Yes. I love it.
You've never said that word before.
Never. It's the first time. It felt great.
No, that's good. And so, talk about coming home to Lethbridge to do this massive show at the NMAX.
Oh my gosh! So I always wanted to play the NMAX. It's like your whole life. Everyone, doesn't matter Otherwise, you always thought one day you come back, and I never knew how. And in a weird way, I'm more excited to play it in a Queen musical than any other way it could have come to pass.
Yeah, sure.
I was just really excited. That's really the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
Now, the show used to be on a different day, and then we had a day off the next day, and that's why I really wanted it to happen, but now...
Yeah.
So it's on a Sunday, which is great. I'm more excited to have my friends and family in the audience.
Yeah, sure.
That's really what it comes down to. Like, the show is going to be the show, but to have, like, the people that taught me everything I know, the people that half the character choices I made that I stole from those people, they could finally see. Yeah. All those little things. It's just your hometown. And yeah, there's something really special about that.
And I mean, we can't talk about, your career without mentioning life in Lethbridge and New West. And like you say, you grew up with a lot of these people. And Lethbridge still means a lot to you.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very, very much so.
How important is your growing up in Lethbridge as you move into your other aspects of your life?
Lethbridge made me who I am. It kind of taught me everything. And the only reason I ever had to leave Lethbridge is I had opportunities in other places that took me there. I've always wanted to come back. I knew there was always a piece of me that always lived here. And so that's just what life kind of did. Life did lead me back here.
Yeah.
And when people talk about, the small towns and things like that, Lethbridge it's not even that small when the people talk about small towns. So now I'm in Colehurst, which is even smaller.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying that too.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing that makes me happier when all of a sudden you're in like this, like, Lethbridge Living Magazine. And you're like, and I'm not kidding when like, that's something that you're like, oh, like, it just gives you that home feeling. And I've ran to all corners of the world, and I've never found that feeling anywhere but here.
That's very nice to hear that. And why don't we end on that with that happy note and get your tickets for when's the show?
We will rock you. You can. So it's January 19th
January
at the
19th.
MX Center.
Ticket, birthday, Christmas gifts.
Oh, that's right. Christmas gifts. Get them. They're actually selling really, really well, and they're selling fast. So
excellent.
Yeah, get them now.
Kyle Gruninger, thank you so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thanks, Brian.
Cheers. Thanks, Brian. Jump in the hood.